everyone, and welcome back to our channel and our second STEAM Saturday. My name is Miss Dani, and today we're going to talk about the S in STEAM. Does anyone remember what the S in STEAM stands for? That's right, it stands for science. Oops. And today we're going to learn a little bit more about elements and how they make up our world. A few weeks ago, when we were all together at STEAM, we talked about the periodic table of elements. Does anyone remember that? Then we did a fun scavenger hunt around the school to find different items that shared the characteristics of these elements. Well, today we're going to do something very similar, but this time it'll be a mystery what element you have until the very end. First, we're going to review a little bit more about elements and the periodic table and go over the activity instructions and materials. Thank you for joining us today once again, and I'll leave you with Miss Rebecca.
Thanks, Miss Dani. Hi, everyone. I'm Miss Rebecca, and I'm going to try my best to explain 3 important chemistry terms that we need to understand to talk about the periodic table: matter, atoms, and elements. If you were at STEAM Saturdays in the fall when we learned about chemistry, you might remember some of this as we go. So the first thing you need to know is that everything in the world, even the air around us, is made of matter, which can be in one of 3 forms: solid, liquid, or gas. And the second term you need to know is that all matter is made up at its smallest unit of these things called atoms. Atoms are teeny tiny particles that come together in all different ways to make up everything. If you were a scientist with a super powerful microscope, this is what a single atom might look like. Now, here comes the third and final chemistry term. Every individual atom is identifiable as a single element from the periodic table. Based on how these atoms look up close, as well as how they join together to form different types of matter, scientists have figured out exactly how to tell what elements everything is made of. And they've assigned an elemental name and category for every kind of atom that they've ever discovered. Great, let's review. Everything in the whole world is made of matter. Matter is made up at its smallest part of atoms, which can all be individually classified as a certain element from the periodic table. These elements work together in tons of different ways to make up everything in our world.
Thanks for that awesome explanation, Miss Rebecca. I'm Mr. Daniel, and I'm going to show you how the scientists classify all these elements. Here's what we've been talking about. I decided to make a periodic table. Every element has a symbol. This is just a fancy way of explaining the letters that represent each element, like K for potassium. Every element also has a number, and this is the amount of protons in that element. That's something we'll learn about on another day. You notice how the table is made up of different colors? That's just a way to show scientists how everything is grouped. The table is just a way to organize all this information so that people that work with these elements every day have an easy way to access important information. Now that we've seen some examples of the periodic table and how elements are organized, Miss Isabel is going to explain what activity we're going to be doing at home today.
Thanks for all that information, everyone. I'm Miss Isabel, and we've got a really fun activity for you all to do today. I'm going to explain how to do it and what we'll make in the end. Now, because we know that all things are made of elements, we're going to be discovering exactly which elements make up things in our very houses. What we need you to do is to find anything in your house that you want to learn more about. I think I'm going to grab my favorite t-shirt. You can pick out anything you're allowed to move, like a pen, your favorite mug, or maybe a blanket. Pause this video and come back as soon as you found something, and we'll talk about what to do next. Okay, I'm back. Do you have your item? Okay, I've got mine. This is one of my favorite t-shirts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the tag and and see what it's made of. Now, your item might not have a tag, and that's okay. On my tag, it says that my shirt is made of linen. Now what we're going to do is go on some sort of tablet, computer, or phone if you have it, and look up what elements make up your item. For me, I googled chemical elements of linen. You can search chemical elements of, and then whatever your item is. Now, pick one of those elements you see. When I googled the chemical elements of linen, I found that cellulose is a key component. Cellulose is not an element on the periodic table itself, but it is made of 3 very important ones. Cellulose will be what I researched for our project today. Pause this video again so you can research the chemical elements in the item you've picked out, and then come back here for more instructions. Now that you have your item and element all picked out and ready to go, Miss Rebecca is going to explain what we're going to do next. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Miss Isabel. I chose this wildflower that I picked from my yard. I did some research like you said, and it turns out there are tons of elements in all plants. I chose to look into nitrogen, which is one of 17 essential plant elements. Nitrogen is so important to plants because it's a major element in chlorophyll. Has anyone ever heard of that word before? Chlorophyll is in plants and it helps with photosynthesis, which is how plants use sunlight as energy to grow. You might hear people talk about nitrogen a lot in gardening because of how important it is to plants. There are even ways to add nitrogen to your garden in case your plants need more of it, with compost, fertilizer, or even growing certain things. Now I'm going to make a fun, creative poster of my element so I'll always remember it. Here are the materials you'll need for this activity: paper, pencils, pens, and markers. Pause the video now, go get your materials, and come back quickly so that we can get started. Do you have everything? Awesome, let's go. Everyone's poster should answer these questions. What is your element? What are some of its characteristics? Where can you find your element? Is it a liquid, solid, or a gas? When did scientists discover it? Of course, you all can include much more if you want, but these are some important questions to answer about your element. Let's see what everyone else on the team has created.
Hi everyone. So the item I chose in my house was this pack of green tea. I was really interested in knowing what elements were found in tea leaves. So after a quick search on the internet, I found out that tea leaves are actually rich in zinc. Zinc is a really commonly found element on planet Earth. So let's talk about it a little bit. So some of the characteristics of zinc are that it can be found in other minerals. It's a very common metallic element. Where can it be found? It can be found in the ocean, actually, which was interesting, or on the very surface of the earth. In what state of matter can it be found? It's actually as solid most of the time when it's mined inside other minerals, so it's found inside other minerals. And when was it discovered? Well, it was discovered in 1746 by a Flemish scientist named P. Moraz de Rapport. And that's zinc.
My element is calcium. It is an alkaline earth metal, and you can find it in the second column, right here. It's a solid, and it was discovered in 1808. I chose calcium because I'm sure many people know that it's really important for growing our bones, but did you know it's also important for growing muscles?
Hey guys, it's Miss Isabel and I'm going to explain cellulose. Cellulose is a compound made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It is not an element itself, but it's made of 3 of these very important elements. It is the most abundant compound on Earth. Cellulose makes plant stems, leaves, and branches strong. It is the main substance in the walls of plant cells. It was discovered in 1838 by the French chemist Anselme Payen. This is the chemical formula for cellulose. I found this when I googled cellulose. You don't have to put this on your paper, but I wanted to just to have a visual for what it looks like. 90% of cotton is made of cellulose. Humans cannot digest cellulose, so it works like fiber when we eat it. We mostly eat cellulose in the form of plants, like spinach or kale, and like I said, cellulose is in a lot of different fabrics, mostly cotton, linen, and even paper. Thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel, and also share pictures and videos of your final projects when you're finished.